Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a bit about a popular show that most people know and really love, Grey's Anatomy. So Grey's Anatomy is a show with intriguing storylines about the complex personal and professional lives of physicians who are in different levels of their careers, from interns who are confused and overwhelmed, but then get to work together and grow as colleagues and even become more than that, friends and on like that. The show has progressed over the years with a few more characters, and I really do give credit to the show for having really good storytelling. I have a lot of respect for Shondaland and the team, and I'm obviously not going to go through every bothersome nurse-related scene in one video, but I wanted to touch on the first 2 episodes and just pull from those in this particular video. Alright, so I may make some videos in the future that address other parts of the same show. Today just will be focusing on this, and that's because Grey's Anatomy is wildly popular and successful. They have a large audience, and I presume from different age groups, okay? And these kinds of portrayals will continue to form opinions about nurses, not only in one generation, but in the future, okay? So I want us to watch this scene, and we'll continue chatting.
4B's got post-op pneumonia. Let's start antibiotics.
Are you sure that's the right diagnosis?
Well, I don't know. I'm only an intern. Here's an idea. Why don't you go spend 4 years in med school and then let me know if it's the right diagnosis? She's short of breath. She's got fever. She's post-op. Start the antibiotics.
Wow. Did you guys hear the rude tone with which he spoke with the nurse, who politely asked him if he was sure that that was the right diagnosis? Very rude, and I guess that might just be his character. Very demeaning, but here comes the stinker. Okay, so let's keep watching.
God, I hate nurses. I'm Alex. I'm with Jeremy. You're with the Nazi, right?
She may not have pneumonia, you know. She could be splinting or have a PE.
Like I said, I hate nurses.
What did you just say? Did you just call me a nurse?
Well, if the white cap fits.
Wow. How crazy was that? If the white cap fits. But more than that, she said, "Did you just call me a nurse? What did you just say?" I mean, what a way to kick things off, right? Okay, so let's break this down. Mind you, the nurse is obviously an older lady. They don't tell us on the show, but for the sake of her age, let's just assume she is more experienced. And Dr. Alex is an intern. So as an intern, you really don't have much experience, if any, caring for patients outside of your medical school rotations, okay? Interns are really fresh out of medical school, and the nurses have had way more experience on that unit than you do, right? Any intern worth their salt knows to respect and even befriend the nurses because they can kind of be a lifeline for you. But first of all, though, it is his character to be cocky, I guess. But even then, it still paints nurses as figureheads whose opinions are not valuable. The nurse quietly leaves without any pushback, which I thought was very unrealistic. And actually, that bothered me. I think that she should have had a voice. She should have spoken up to him and be more firm about her concerns. After all, this was her patient, and she has the responsibility to advocate for him. So with that being said, I'm gonna just keep going and say that when he said, "I hate nurses," I mean, that was really a shocker. And he said it very rudely, in a very outspoken manner, in a very disgusting manner, right? Now, when Dr. Meredith postulates her own differential as sort of a defense to what the nurse said, he immediately retorts again with the same vitriol. Like I said, "I hate nurses," right? And this is the point when she becomes angry and sort of feels insulted to have been called a nurse, as if being called a nurse is a curse word. Okay, that's the way it comes off. And yeah, I understand that this is more like a gender role dig, because men have always outnumbered women in medicine. So women have sort of had to stand up for themselves and they may continue to face gender-based discrimination, right, and things like that. But it really was the disgusted tone with which she responded that made it seem like being called a nurse was like the worst possible insult you could have thrown at her, who is a physician. Okay, so I want to quickly read a portion of a book that addresses this same issue. It is a book called Saving Lives: Why the Media's Portrayal of Nurses Puts Us All at Risk. It's a book that I love. It is written by Sandy Summers, and she's a pioneer in this struggle. If you guys know who Sandy Summers is, you understand. She is all for better media representation of nurses. So I'm going to read a portion of her book, and this is about the same scene that we just talked about, okay? So here we go. It says, the pathetic nurse watched in silence as he left. Later, the chief of surgery endorsed Meredith's views. The nurse had sensed vaguely that something was wrong, but it took a real professional, Meredith, to do anything about it. Okay? She also says that although most clinical scenes in Grey's Anatomy have no nurses, the few that do generally present nursing as a matter of fetching physicians or holding or moving things for physicians, usually at the edge of the frame. So the nurses tend to consist of forearms and background blurs, okay? The few nurse characters who do speak tend to be bitter or fawning lackeys. And the premiere stressed that smart, tough, attractive women like Sergeant Stars do not become nurses. So basically, she is smart, she is intelligent, she is strong, she is by no means a nurse. That's what the picture of the portrayal looked like, right? Okay, so now the second episode, same season, second episode in April 2005, offered more explicit contempt. Meredith's friend, hotshot intern Christina, told Alex, "You're the pig who called Meredith a nurse. I hate you on principle." Okay, so basically Dr. Christina is meeting Alex, Dr. Alex, the rude guy, for the first time, and finds out or says to him that you are the pig that called Meredith a nurse. Okay, so there's more to this, and it's fine. And then the last thing I want to read is that she says, the female physician's reactions to these slurs effectively endorse the assumptions that underlie them. Of course, it would not occur to Meredith, Christina, or Lexi to say anything in defense of nurses. What they care most about is that they not be regarded as nurses themselves. So it's like a curse word to call a physician a nurse. And I do understand the gender-based bias, okay? I do. I get it. But being called a nurse is a thing of pride for me, right? It's a thing of joy. I take so much pride in my profession as a nurse. And just because, yes, there are more females in nursing than there are males, and there are more males in medicine than there are females, usually patients or other physicians who don't know each other very well may mistake a male nurse to be a physician or mistake a female physician to be a nurse. But there is no need for the deep hatred or deep disgust that comes out of that mistake, right? I just wanted to read from this book, which I think was so brilliantly written. Again, it's called Saving Lives. Please read this book. You will not regret it. And yeah, while I understand that the scene that we watched was from the very first part of the show, you may say things like, the show may have changed over time, but there is more representation on the show or of Black physicians, females, but yet the representation for nurses on a medical show remains shallow to non-existent. As many of the functions that we see the cast performing as physicians, and I wish that they were that present on the floors, because that is not the reality. And I'm not saying that physicians are not present, but it's insulting that it looks as though we don't perform the skills and we don't deserve to be given the credit for the real work that we do. Hey, who cares, right? As long as the physicians are made to appear like all around superheroes. It's all good. And I think that's the stinker for us in nursing. And somehow, and I know this is imperfect, in a way I kind of prefer that, if anything, they just leave us out all the way rather than portray disparaging images or even make really negative remarks. Okay? So that's it for me. I'd like to know what you all think of this show, especially you nurses. Are you a fan of the show? Do scenes like this one bother you at all? Were there some other scenes from the show that you found especially demeaning? Let me know. Let's interact in the comments below. And please like, please subscribe, please share with someone that you think would enjoy this content. And let's keep working together to create a more respected future for nursing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.